Thank you very much. That's really exciting to see this now, isn't it? I mean, to see this boiling down into these statements. And I made a mind map here. I don't know what you did at this time, but I made a mind map to see what actually is repeating. And the top statement, who has taken account of the top statement, which was voted by most groups as interesting or reformulated or integrated? Somebody made an analysis? Yep. No leadership, no. No, it was about quality and open educational practices from group 1, 4, and 3. They were all drawing it into as a major statement into their outcome statement. Leadership and the leadership aspect, innovative and participative for open educational practices, and what we in our group call the confidence culture or the sharing culture in organizations to promote open educational practices, and the policy level support for open educational practices. These three were then the ones who received 2 times of, let's say, attention by each group. So all around the issue of this open educational practice statements from the original list, although they were formulated or reformulated in different ways, different aspects were stressed, but all these statements, all the 4 statements around this issue were now, let's say, coming into the final round of selection, but also guided by one statement for UGC, for user-generated content, which is a very challenging one, because it states that there should be recognition mechanism through success stories for user-generated content, which is an interesting idea, I find. Then from the research angle, which we had represented, it is about bringing multi-stakeholder groups into research, collaborative research, and supporting funding and implementation in a stronger way of technology-enhanced learning. And we had then the 4th cluster around the evaluation angle, which we were bringing to the final recommendations. It says that in EU institutions there should be more lobby for evaluation, self-evaluation institutions, and it was interesting that the group formulated, abandoned the formulation, create an institute for, into enrich existing institutions, which I found a smart way to bring this up and give it also an emphasis. And finally, to create a culture of evaluation. I think staying at this point from culture of evaluation, we can say that this topic of culture is actually an axis through all the different angles which we were bringing to the topic, because we see that it's not enough to just create one awareness or to just deal with one stakeholder group, but to tackle the issue from a whole system and create a bottom-up and a top-down culture. Culture is something which is addressing values, which is addressing everyday practices within an organization, objectives, which is addressing the models and the ideals which are existing. That's one common theme which I found in all the presentations, the culture issue. Another common theme which I found in all the presentations was that we need a smart framework for our recommendations, because it is not so easy to say, finally, these are recommendations for professionals, or these are recommendations for researchers, for policymakers, but somehow they are interdependent, they're impacting on each other. So we need to think about what are our principles under which we are working, and what do we derive from there for recommendations. What are the final objectives, and how are the different target groups addressed if they all should work together to achieve these objectives. And then 2 groups were mentioning something which was making me happy, that was thinking about the potential role of EFQUEL in promoting these developments. One role of EFQUEL, of course, is the role to bring together different stakeholders and to embed them into a dialogue, to see where they're coming from, to see what are the different needs on the topic, and how can we try to form, let's say, pockets of consensus which we then can carry forward to the debate. And this is for sure an important role. And another role which was also emphasized is the role of leadership in the community. Because if we manage to create a consensus, we can bring this back to the community as an aggregated, harvested result, and can see if we can, let's say, form energies behind this and lead the community for a certain path into creating innovative solutions. So these are my reflections now, and it's not good if the moderator starts with his reflections, because it stifles usually the creativity of the audience, especially after lunch. But still, I would like to ask your reflections now, or your questions, but comments probably more to what we saw. We have about 5 minutes or 6 minutes to share.